Welcome to the Devil's Work podcast, the podcast where a trio of intrepid adventurers watch a bunch of horrible graphic films so that you don't have to. My name is Skeptik, and I'm here with my friends Sideshow and Evelyn.
Hello.
Hey.
And today we're going to be talking about the movie Suicide Club by Sion.
Yup.
And what do you guys want to say a little bit before we get into it?
Man,
WTF.
pretty much, to put it in a fucking phrase, this movie is so wild. You brought it to my attention. You know what's funny? The last time, I think we were supposed to record like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah,
I had literally seen that on my Facebook memories was a year ago that I had seen it that
it was
day.
the anniversary.
That's
It was
so
literally
funny.
the anniversary that day. If we'd have recorded on that day, I was like, whoa, that's fucking wild.
Could you feel it? Could you feel the,
I could
the
absolutely.
echoes?
Yeah, it was very. Yeah, this movie, man. I just can't fucking say enough what the fuck about it.
Was this your first time seeing it, Evelyn?
Yeah, my first time.
Okay.
I could use a second time, perhaps. I have some questions.
Yeah, it's a wild movie.
I can use a third, dog.
It's funny to me that it just knowing too that like kind of at first when Joey started or Sideshow started really getting into horror films, or at least that we started talking about
Yeah,
it. Like
yeah.
like you know, I was like, just all these different films you're getting into just made me think about when I was going through like these phases and
Yep.
everything.
It's not a phase, Dad.
Well, you know what I mean. Like when I was really into it, when like that part of my discovery of self, of like really liking film and especially
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
liking these weird off kilter,
It kicks
foreign
in at a
films.
certain point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And for me, Battle Royale and Suicide Club were like the first two Japanese movies that I really watched. Like I was into anime and stuff, you know what I mean? But in terms
Yeah.
of like actually watching a foreign film,
Yeah.
you know, so to me Suicide Club is like so foundational. You know, it came out in 2002. I probably saw it in like 2006 because I was in high school still.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So probably like 2006 or 2007. So it's kind of interesting to me that it's like, was that kind of at the start of my journy, and for it to like just catch up to you two now, and to just see it floor you just as much as it did to me.
Yeah,
Fucking
'cause
damn sure did, dude.
There's been so much built on top of this era of Japanese horror films.
Yeah, especially in the odds.
There's a way to, like, I don't know. It's so matter of fact, a Japanese horror film. They're
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
fucking deal with it.
That's what makes the ghost stories that come from over there so harrowing, is because they feel so much more like raw. Like the energy
Yeah.
from these things feels like so much more. Because I mean, yeah, culturally they're dealing with so much like repressed anger and depression and all kinds of shit. But
It's still horrifying, but it's like they're like calm. There's a calmness to it.
yeah.
It's like usually like thematically it's more like there's these forces of nature at work, as opposed to like where there's kind of that in like, you know, American horror films or like other horror films. And kind of like I talked about before, the whole like how weirdly conservative like slasher films are, where it's like they kind of like Jason is kind of just a hitman for Ronald Reagan, you know, in like this weird way where he's just like, get over here, hippie, just
Exactly.
just like, you know.
Oh, that's so funny.
But-
yeah, exactly. All the like conservative ideals were like very firmly like implanted in these movies. Like it was injected in there somehow. Like whereas like subconsciously you're like, oh yeah, anybody who smokes weed or has sex is ultimately
They gotta go.
They're gonna go. You know?
It's funny because in a way it's like it's not even like the filmmakers are like, we agree with this. They're just like, what's evil? Republicans. but like in Japanese films or like, you know, foreign films in general, or no I guess Japanese films is what I'm trying to talk about. It's like this these societal forces.
Yeah.
There is.
It's-
I mean, there's this kind of message about the internet in this one.
Yeah, totally.
Which seemed to be like, especially early aughts, that was like where a lot of the movies were based around. It was like fear of the internet
Yeah.
and what it could become.
Yeah, one missed
Yeah.
call, all that kind of stuff.
Even the one I saw recently, Pulse, which I think I brought up to you guys that I eventually want to do an episode on, which they had remade it and I forgot there was a shitty American remake, but it was like that fear of basically the internet and what it would become, and like kind of like ghosts living on through the internet and shit like that.
Yeah, I saw a terrible one called Demonic, which is about VR demon.
Oh,
Yeah.
God damn it.
Cool
Of course.
idea, but then like plot wise, it kind of
That seems like
Fell.
a hard one. It would be hard to make that work.
yeah.
It'd be very hard to make that
It
one
didn't.
work.
Yeah.
It's funny how horror films especially do that, where it's like this idea pops up and like 15 movies take a run at it, and you get like The Signal, which is like, I don't think it's an M. Night Shyamalan movie, but like kind of feels like one, where it's just like, ooh, there's a radio, TV. If you're just around anything electronic that broadcasts or receives a signal, then you're gonna see the signal and you're gonna go crazy, and
Yeah.
Well, 'cause
and then you eventually get a pulse.
Yeah, exactly.
Like enough swings at it, and eventually someone hits.
gets it. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it seems to be like we were saying, like the around that time in the odds. Yeah, because even Pulse was like, I want to say it was like a year before this one. It was like a year before. Yeah.
Really?
So like, yeah. That's what I'm saying. They were like right around the same time. So like you could see that thematically, like they were very much concerned with what the actual internet was going to become. I don't think they could have ever prepared for what it is now, but
Now it's just ads for hot pants,
yeah.
mostly.
Mostly.
Booty shorts
Booty shorts.
in the margins of the screen or whatever it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're ads for hot pants, mostly.
But I mean, okay, so like to bring it back to the movie though, I mean initially like that is what the movie seems to be kind of addressing overall. So like that's like
Yeah.
thematically what you're dealing
Keep
with.
the kids away from the internet.
Yeah, totally.
Because you have them like setting up the actual. It's funny because it's like the beginnings of the internet. Like getting the internet was just such a foreign thing. It's so funny to watch that again, like through the lens of today.
Yeah.
To see all the like flip phones. And,
Yeah.
and all the custom ringtones. Now everyone's just like, I don't want to hear one goddamn peep out of you.
It's almost at the level that like the police are trying to solve the thing, and like some teenagers like, listen, this is called a website. If you go here, you'll see. And they're like, okay.
They're
like frantically making notes about it.
yeah.
They've never touched a keyboard in their lives.
It's so it's
HTT what?
exactly. It's an interesting, I think, take on it, and I think overall the Suicide Club like works as a very wacky addition to this like genre, like an idea, like piling onto that idea of like the internet bad, essentially.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
movies.
Yeah, just this like what's gonna happen? There's gonna be a dark side to this.
It's like foreboding,
you know?
foreboding.
Yeah.
I
So
like it.
I think we should just kind of get out of the way before we like jump into going through the whole movie. The trigger warnings here. I mean, it's called Suicide Club. There is a lot of self-harm, a lot of suicide, a lot of very graphic gore. There's some sexual assaults. I think that's
That
most
about
of
that
the main
about
things.
covers
like,
it. Yeah.
yeah,
I think-
and it's a very graphic film, but it's also from 2002. So like, I don't know. I feel like you have to have the right mindset, and maybe it's my love for it, but I can definitely like sort of enjoy that aspect of it. But I can also see how someone seeing it for the first time would be like, okay, they ran over a watermelon,
yeah, exactly.
Well, yeah, but what of it?
yeah, exactly. Problem.
Yeah, exactly.
No, yeah, and I think like to speak to that, to like even some of the effects as being over the top as they are, I still think
It was what was needed.
exactly. It's what needed to make that film like stick. I think like if they'd have gone a little tame with the violence and it didn't show as much, it wouldn't be as effective. I don't think it would have like landed like the same in the hearts of people.
And they have some great things in there that they don't show that make certain moments better.
Oh, we're gonna get into
that.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Okay, so
fuck yeah. So if you like it, go take a look and come back and join in on the fun. But
do we need like a mini summary?
Well, I mean, yeah, we're probably if you want to give them a little, do you want to give them a little synopsis?
So yeah, sure. So I guess the short and to the point synopsis would be that a sudden and seemingly like ritualistic or cult-like wave of suicides starts to just ripple across I believe it's just schools. Tokyo. I don't think it's Japan. I think it's just Tokyo.
Oh, it's just Tokyo. Okay.
I think so. But yeah, it's so this wave of suicide starts to ripple through all these generally high school age kids, but also other people, just inexplicably and very suddenly for all of them. And it gets to the point where, as Evelyn said, the police start to investigate it as a crime. Initially, they say, these are suicides. These aren't crimes. What can we do about this? But there seems to be a suicide club.
Yep.
Thunderclap.
And then hilarity ensues.
Ensues.
No, yeah, I think that's probably the best little non-spoiler review we can.
If you don't like suicide,
yeah, exactly.
Don't watch it.
Yeah, which is totally
that's
valid.
Fair. It's fair. It's exactly. It's incredibly fair to do. Like we understand that that's a lot, but if you don't want to watch it, hey, come along for the conversation right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So
all right, hit us with it.
So I will be just for the listener's sake, I will be going through a synopsis of the film, and as I go, Joey and Evelyn will be weighing in and
with the Peanuts Gallery,
interjecting, and together we'll get through this. So the dates flash across the screen pretty constantly in this, and this synopsis has those in here, so we'll be able to keep track pretty easily. So
rapid fire chaos.
Yeah. Let's do this.
Exactly.
Don't
So
scare me.
on the night of May 26th, the film starts, and we just see a huge crowd of schoolgirls come down the stairs and gather on the platform, and they all link hands and together jump in front of the train.
Yeah,
54 girls commit suicide.
Literally, you get a fucking spray of blood. Like it is it is just gallons being fucking sprayed at people. It was so funny.
It's like it becomes a pond. The platform becomes a pond of blood.
Exactly.
You get that great inside the train shot of just all the windows.
Oh yeah, being
blood rain.
Pasted, just fucking it's so good.
Yeah, everyone inside just minding their business. God.
And then you get the fucking medieval bard music that's playing in the beginning.
Yeah.
I don't know if you caught on to that. What the fuck is going on?
Really strange music choice for that scene.
Dude, it's like what was it?
It's
like
recorders and like
like literally like the old medieval fucking drums that they would hit, like the hand
drums.
It's
like cheerful music.
Yeah, it's super cheerful.
Yeah,
that's what makes that so shocking.
It's a spectacle. You know? It is just like a big. It's so wild.
Yeah.
It's interesting because I know he has another film called Something Circus. I know that's another one of Sono Sion's big films.
Strange Circus.
Strange Circus. Thank you.
Yeah, Strange Circus.
So it's almost like circus music. It's just like isn't this silly as all these as everyone's just like
this a riot?
It is pretty ridiculous.
Yeah, dude. It's just it's such a shocking. I think, and if we're going for like we talked about with High Tension, this is around the same era. Like you're going for the most shocking images right up top.
Yeah.
That's what these movies
Like, pay attention.
Yeah, exactly. Like I think it was like, okay, this is like the thesis statement for the movie. They're just like, boom, blood right up top. Okay, this is what you came for.
Like the spookiest thing about it is there's 54 of these girls. There's no hesitation among any of them. They're all quite cheerful about it, and they just go right over like perfect synchronization of their activity. They're just like, all right, it's 10 o'clock. It's time to go.
Yeah. So fucking
they like count it down together.
Yeah, exactly.
They're
like, swinging their arms together. I'm like, oh my god.
Yeah.
It's wild, and the wave of blood just washes over the whole station.
So heinous, bro.
And in the midst of the chaos, we see somebody leave a small white bag on the platform.
That's right.
And meanwhile, in a hospital in Tokyo, we see 2 nurses and a security guard. And
the best security guard.
That's right, the world's best
in
security
the world.
Yeah, and the nurses are, I think they hear on the news about the girls.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
right?
yeah. They're listening. I think they're listening on the radio.
Yeah, and they're like, isn't that crazy?
Yeah, and then one of them goes down to get them like snacks, and the security guard has to like take her out or like let her leave. And when he comes back up, the other nurse is gone, and the window is open, and there's those handprints on the window, which
that
is
was
like
such a good like little moment.
Yeah.
That was actually a really good little moment.
Pretty subtle.
Yeah.
And he's just looking around and he can't find her, and then the other nurse comes back, and she's like, "Hey, what's going on? Where's the other lady at?" And he's like, "I don't know. I can't find her. The window was open. Like, oh, freaky stuff."
I'm freaking out, man.
And she's like, "Oh my god, do you want her food?" And he's like, he's just like mad confused. And then she just walks up and casually just jumps out the window in front of him.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
She just fucking like in the background too. I love that you're not like focused on her. She's in the background, just fucking doing it.
She just
like,
yeets herself out the window.
It's so strange. He's just like looking at the food, like, what's going on here? And then she just
He's like,
jumps
well, I don't know.
out.
I think I could eat a chicken sandwich. What the fuck?
And then another white bag is found in the hospital.
Yeah.
I completely forgot
the
about the bag,
little
dude.
like it's like a little tennis bag or something. It's like
Oh, that's
it's kind of a
fucking,
fancy looking.
See, that's what I'm saying. I completely did. I missed that, dude. That's wild. I don't know. I'm not gonna say weed was in it involved, but I'm not gonna say it was.
These bags are placed by unknown entities.
Yeah. We see the first one being placed, and I think the second one we just see like rolling down the hall on something.
Yeah, the bag at the platform was like scooting across the floor. It was like being washed away by all the blood.
Oh, that's right. Oh my god. Okay, yeah, I can't fucking believe. Where was I when I was watching?
You were deep in it.
Yeah, I was. No, yeah, because this is my second time watching this, and we watched it together. Evelyn and I watched it together, and like I was just fucking like screaming at the TV, like, what the fuck is going on? And again,
complete chaos.
The second time around didn't make much more sense to me either. Like it's fucking crazy.
That's the sign of a good adventure.
Exactly.
It's a wild one for sure.
Yeah, and I don't mind it either. I'm here for the confusion. I fucking like not everything needs to have answers for me.
Yeah.
You know. Okay, let's continue on. Where do we go after she eats herself?
So we meet the police after that, and the 3 main detectives, Kuroda, Murata, and Shibusawa, and the chief of police. But those 3 take the case.
One of whom looks like Gary Oldman.
Yeah, bro.
That's so funny.
I don't remember which one.
Literally, yeah. I was like, holy shit, that's right.
I love the oldest guy. He's just like such a like... From so many like games I've played and movies I've seen and stuff, he's just such a like stereotypical like.
He's that archetype.
Yeah, he's like the archetype of like the stuck in his ways old man.
Yeah, exactly.
That's like their version of like a Hank Hill. is like that guy. So every time he's just like, it doesn't seem like a crime to me. I'm just like, yeah, I bet.
I bet.
Good detective work.
Exactly.
Yeah, no crime, no time. And so one of them suggests a suicide cult, and the chief of police dismisses it. And they start trying to find
Couldn't be
a connection to link the girls, but they're all from like different schools and I think different years. Like none of them are really like that connected, and they get contacted by
How do you meet up
hacker.
with people?
Yeah, right. Oh, they have friends.
If only there was a way.
Right. Which is so funny because it's like, and I wasn't thinking about it at the time, you know, of like, I'm just thinking of sort of like what I know about everything, this being a rewatch and all, but I wasn't thinking at the time about like, well, duh, dude, they're all friends through the internet. Like I wasn't thinking about that, but like, yeah.
I don't think I was either, so don't feel bad about that one.
Yeah, now it just feels like obvious, but
yeah.
And so they're not finding a connection, and they get a call from a hacker who says, "Call me the Bat." And and tells
the
them,
bat. Yeah. Okay, that now my note makes sense. I was like, why the fuck do I say the bat with the exposition?
Who is a lady?
That's so funny.
She's a lady.
Yeah, a lady hacker. Angelina Jolie would be proud.
Exactly.
And she tells them like, hey, I found this website and it's got all these dots on it. And right when those girls killed themselves, I think 54 red dots popped up. So she's like, the red dots are women and the white dots are men, or maybe it's the other way around.
And isn't it like something that when they happen, they show up before they happen?
Yeah, just a little bit before.
Yeah, they show up like right before they happen or something like that.
Yes, yeah. She's just like refreshing the page over and over, and she saw it, and then the like news report hit and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and she's like, "You fools."
Yeah, so she like creates an alliance with the police and tells them like, you know, basically you should be looking online. And the two bags are found.
Like, what the fuck is online?
What is online?
Yeah, right.
Is that some kind of drug reference?
Facebook. And so they open the bags and they reveal that they are both full of just a huge roll of human skin stitched together.
Oh, that or
like
do you mean
a ski-nnamon bun?
It's jelly filled.
Oh, dude. It's like a fruit roll-up made of patches of skin.
It really is. And
it was some like 7 ass shit, bro. Like that shit jumped into 7 real fucking fast. I was like, whoa, what the hell?
It's so funny, the mix of like it is all, you know, practical effects, but it's like the levels of believability kind of fluctuate in a lot of these things. Yeah. And it's like you're suspending disbelief. We're watching a movie about a suicide cult, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But like the ski-nnamon buns are just it's like so weirdly real looking, like
I could see that happening.
It's the sound too when they roll it out.
And the characters are like, "Oh, it smells so bad."
Yeah,
just like visually the way it pulls away from like
it feels moist.
It's a bit elastic.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if it's all like pig flesh, because I know that's supposed to be like similar.
The most realistic on film. Yeah,
the director's like, "We're methoding this. It's gonna smell terrible in here."
Yeah,
so we're done with this scene.
Save that thought for Ichi the Killer.
Oh God, oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Which I will.
Sideshow knows.
Yeah, absolutely. We're gonna do fucking Ichi one day, and I say this
absolutely.
This week, as of this recording, I just got my face tattooed with the scars that Kakihara has on his face.
He's freshly adorned.
They look great.
Thank you.
And the cat's like, let me add some more. I saw those paws.
The cat's literally on the notebook right now. Oliver's chilling.
Like, you want some more? Why didn't you come to me for those?
You want some more? No, let me round it out for you over here.
That's so funny.
He only does scarification.
Yeah. He only does.
The cat is literally trying to open this bag of Welch's fruit snacks right now.
That's so funny. My cat, every single time I open a bag of weed, she comes running across the room because she thinks it's her treats. And then I let her smell it, and she just goes, ugh, and like,
What the fuck?
Nope.
like ew, and walks away. I'm just like, yeah, that's daddy nip.
Daddy Nick. Okay. All right. Kitty corner aside. Where were we in the movie? Oh yeah, ski-nnamon bun.
Yeah. So
ski-nnamon bun.
so they're looking at it and they're like, yo, what the fuck? Like, what is the link here? Like, maybe it's connected to the bodies. And then the coroner is like, yeah, well, check out this fucked up shit. And he lifts the table, and it's just all the bodies are so mangled by the train that like you just can't tell where one person starts and another person ends. And he's just like, these are a bunch of limbs, bro. Like, I don't know what to really.
It's spectacular. It's like a ball of legs.
Yeah, it looks almost like. Oh well, it kind of reminded me of the ending of The House That Jack Built. Almost like the ending. I don't know if you've seen that one yet, but it's fucking okay. Yeah, I mean, a little spoilery, but it's kind of like there's a similar sort of like effect that happens, and it's kind of cool to see the parallels between years for that.
Damn, interesting. I'll have to check that one out for sure.
Yeah, it's really good. I mean, Lars is questionable, but
fucked up for
he's
sure.
He's got some ideas. But,
he has thoughts.
He has thoughts.
Damn.
Yeah.
So then. Yeah, they theorize it's from the victims. They can't prove it with what they have.
The skin patches.
Yeah. The patches that make up the ski-nnamon bun or the ski-nnamon roll.
I think they find like a part in one of the bodies where it could have been cut off of
tattooed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that might come later.
Oh shit, sorry.
I think so. I'm not sure.
I think when they roll it up, you see it, or roll like. I think when they like unfurl it, I think you do see it. But like it's like a quick one of those things where it's like you just see the quick like. It's so shocking to see fucking different types of flesh just patched together, and you're like, oh, was that a tattoo? I don't fucking know. Like it's one of those that just kind of like flies by you, and it's so fucking. As gnarly to look at for goddamn sure.
Yeah, and there's one specific tattoo that sticks out to them that's like a butterfly. Just based on the synopsis I'm reading, I can't tell if that happens there or if that happens later. But they do eventually realize. But yeah, so then Kuroda returns home, the like main detective, to his wife and his two kids, his two teenage kids, and the girl idol group. Desart is introduced, and it's
here we go because Evelyn has some thoughts on this.
I'm just confused.
It's really interesting to me because they spell their name wrong like every time.
This is what she was saying.
Every time,
and it's there's a purpose, but I can't figure out what it is. And maybe that purpose is just to make me ask that question.
Exactly, it's so fucking strange.
I feel like it's part of the mystery. Is why it's like 5-10-year-old girls, and they're called Desert.
I think
Desert, Desrat.
Yeah, it's spelled literally.
Desart.
Any variation of those letters that's in there.
It's interesting too because it changes scene to scene.
Yeah,
exactly. There's no consistency.
Well, okay, so like what I mean is eventually we see the room of someone who's a big fan of this group.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And when we're in like different locations where there's like posters, like all the posters are consistent with one another, and in this person's room there's like guidebooks and like all these things. So there's just all this merchandise that's consistent, which is just like, it creates this weird like happenstance where it's like, so each person who likes this group just happens to only ever see it spelt this one way, or this or maybe this kind of like it's so subliminal that like it just changes for everyone at the same time, and everyone just accepts it and doesn't even question
it.
It's
the Mandela effect.
That's a really good take on. Okay, shit. That's a really good take on that, and I did not expect to stumble upon that. I literally thought we were just gonna talk shit on that.
I mean, I thought it was just like whoever was doing the subtitles was just
you were
just
furious.
phoning it in.
She was fucking
Every time
livid, bro.
It's
She's like, what the fuck?
It's definitely part of the mystery. Is like because they're very clearly at like the heart of whatever the fuck is going on. Because they just continuously pop up and they're in the background and people are like humming their songs and stuff.
The song "Mail Me."
Mail Me. I think it's their only song.
Which funnily enough, when I was looking at some trivia earlier, Sion directed the video for that original song.
No.
And so Desart did a cover of the artist whose music video he directed.
Is that a real song?
Mail Me is like a real hit song.
Oh shit.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Mail Me.
That just makes me nervous.
Yes. That
Mail
was
me.
allowed to exist.
Yeah.
Yeah, when he comes home to
Oh,
see his
God.
kids, they're like staring at the TV and not paying attention to him, and he's like, "What is this?" They're like, "It's Mail Me."
Yeah.
Shut up.
Fucking idiot.
Yeah. Dad.
Fuck you, Dad.
Dad, Home Improvement is on. Shut up.
I think they addressed the fact that like because his kids are like 17-ish, but the
Yeah,
band,
exactly.
the girls in the band are like 10.
9, yeah. If that,
Yeah, and they're
yeah.
just like super into them. It is.
Yeah, everyone's
strange.
like-
It's so strange, yeah.
It's a little weird.
And everyone's okay with this.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
it's-
Everyone's just like,
But I
"Well,
mean,
well,
that
mail
is
them.
all- that, yeah,
What are you waiting for?
that's like, well, also, I guess, differently, like BTS and, like, you know, K-pop.
Yeah.
You
It's
know,
all youth
J-pop, all
culture.
these, like youth culture is like really big over there. So
Idol
I get
groups
that.
have been a huge thing for a long time.
Yeah,
True.
a long time.
There's a really good book by William Gibson called Idoru, which is just the Japanese word for idol, and it's part of a trilogy, but it's about synthetic idols, AI idols.
Right.
And this is well before things like Hatsune Miku and like things like that.
Oh, like
you know?
the pop stars are just fully like
that don't really exist. Yeah,
exist exactly.
Yeah,
It's so crazy.
It's a trip. It's a really good book. I really love all of his books.
Yeah, it kind of reminds. Well, I mean, like in that same vein, which I also feel like we could kind of tie this into, and maybe we'll even do an episode one day. Perfect Blue.
Oh shit.
Yeah, that ties in for sure.
You know
It
what I mean?
does.
Like, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I feel there was a lot of parallels in this, like, to Perfect Blue in a weird way.
Yeah, it does. It does link up really well.
There was the internet, there was the culture around that too, and it was literally the girl band that she was
It's
in.
kind of like the other side of it.
Exactly. Yeah. It almost. Holy shit! We keep stumbling on these,
Hey.
these episodes, dude. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
They're
You're
like,
hearing this.
you
as
don't
it happens.
understand. It's really hard to be a member of Desart.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, that whole thing about like how they're even like fucking like formed to be these pop stars, like they're like shaped and molded to be these pop stars over there at such a young age. It's pretty harrowing. Like
Yeah, I mean, hey, and we have baby Southern Belle pageants. It's just like
it's
it's just-
equally
'cause-
fucking disturbing.
Because we need that.
Yeah.
it's just a weird thing where everyone goes around pointing fingers at each other while doing like similarly strange, creepy things. And,
Yeah.
and those of
It's
us
tradition.
those of us
Exactly.
that are sensible just stand here like, what the fuck are any of y'all doing? Like,
Like, so we're just cool with this. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
so that's the 27th because it starts on the
That's right.
night
On
of
the
the 26th.
How
so
many
the-
days does it go through? Do you
it's
know,
over
like,
it's over about a week.
Yeah.
So on the 26th, the
Okay.
girls jump from the platform. They find the bag on the platform.
Mm.
The stuff at the hospital happens, and then the next morning, because all that stuff was happening overnight at the hospital, the next morning they investigate the hospital. And then
they ask questions of the world's best security guard.
Yes, the champ,
Ironclad.
The
the
guy
champ
who hears-
himself.
He hears shattering glass and he's like, must be a mouse.
Doesn't he get scared by like?
And then the phone rings, and he's like, he answers the phone, and then
That's
a
right.
voice is on the phone saying hello, and he's like, ah, you scared me.
Yeah, he literally reacts at the weirdest fucking moment.
Jesus, he's trying his best. He's the
He
minimum wage.
Leave the man alone.
He's not cut out for the night shift. That's all I'm saying.
Exactly.
No,
Like, we need to move
not at
into
all.
mid or swing at the very.
He's like,
You'd think he would walk her to the store. He's just like, you're on your own.
yeah.
Hey, it's down the hall and to your left. You're
He's
good.
like, okay, go out there, and now I'm gonna lock you out.
Yeah.
I'll see you tomorrow.
Okay, bye.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's a great guy.
He's a guy. He's very helpful.
So
man.
the 27th is the coroner, and then Kuroda goes home, and we introduce Desart. And then the 28th at just a random high school, we see kids just chilling on the roof eating, and there's
this fucking scene.
This is my favorite.
I really like how they show sort of like all these different like cliques and everything, and then you see the three. I think it's the 3 or 4 like smart, like not nerdy, but probably like the smart popular girls sitting around and having their like eloquent discussion about everything, and they're just basically like, oh, suicide is uncouth, in so many words. They're just like
pipe in hand, just
they're just like, oh, so how shameful. And then some dudes are running around, and they're just like, oh my god, I bet we could beat 54, let's all kill ourselves.
yeah.
And everyone just goes and lines up, and they all take hands, and they're like, hey, everyone do it on 3, and they stop. And they're like, wait, we're all really going to do it, right?
Yeah,
we're really
there's
gonna
that
do
moment
it.
of like hesitation. It's fucking harrowing, actually.
Yeah.
And then they just jump. And
They just do it, bro.
And we see, I believe the kid who was like gung-ho about it doesn't jump.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
there's like 3 who don't jump, and 2 of them like fall together almost immediately from shock. And all the teachers show up, and they're like trying to get the one survivor to stay. And she's just like, we're the Suicide Club, and fucking jumps to her death.
Like, yeah, peace out, bitches.
It's so wild. That's such a
like,
wild
bye.
scene. It's just like the question. The question is just constantly like, is there some outside force causing all of this, or
Yeah.
is it just this weird, twisted peer pressure?
That's where it takes a tonal shift, because the girls are all 100% on the same page, and they all go at the same time, and the nurses, you have no idea what the hell influenced them, because they act like they don't know what happened.
The one we see is like hypnotized acting almost.
Yeah.
It almost feels like a thought virus.
Yeah, and there is that scene where, like, after both of the nurses have died, the security guard is just guarding an empty hospital at night.
Useless.
And he goes back up to that room where they jumped from, and he's like looking around, and then he like turns, and they're both there. Like
there's ghosts,
they're ghosts or something. And it's the only thing in the movie like that.
Yeah.
And I don't know
why it was included. Yeah.
So there was a cut subplot with him.
Oh, okay.
Well, excuse
Wait,
me.
with the security guard?
Yeah.
That would have answered some questions.
I need to see this.
He was supposed to get maybe like another 20 minutes of screen time.
Are
What
you
the fuck?
fucking shitting me?
That's a whole ass like half of the movie.
He's
What
my
the-
favorite character.
I don't totally know the details, but like here under trivia, it just mentions that like in the trailer it shows scenes from that subplot that were cut. So if you watch the trailer, it shows like I think some ghosty stuff happening with him, and I think they just kind of took that out.
What the fuck?
I need to see the security guard cut.
They could have made this movie longer. They
Yeah.
could. I wouldn't have minded. Yeah, I wouldn't have minded staying with it. Like, well, that's why I kind of want to see the sequel too, because to see if it does like answer all these questions.
Yeah,
that we
Or
fucking
just
have.
add like 39 more questions.
Right. I would like to know as well.
Yeah, which we're gonna probably, just for future reference, we're probably gonna do a follow-up episode to this one with the sequel. So if you guys are enjoying this one,
Yeah, we're
Yeah.
gonna
we
come
ain't
back.
done yet.
Yeah, that's gonna be a good one for sure. So on May 29th, The suicide boom, it says here, which is a good way to put it, has
It is,
spread
yeah.
all across Japan, and the cops just don't know what's going on. I think we see the bat's computer screen at one point, and there's just hundreds and hundreds of dots.
It flashes back. Yeah, that's so crazy.
And so there's a girl named Mitsuko just walking down the street, and suddenly someone
This fucking
jumps
scene.
off a building and just high-flying Hogan headbutts her. And
She's so out of left field.
and the way he just like twitches on the ground afterwards, like a dying fish, and
That was dirty.
and it happens to be her ex-boyfriend Masa, and she's just sitting there with her head bleeding, like, what are you doing? And he's just like, I killed myself, isn't it awesome? And she's just like, what in the fuck? And so they take her in for questioning, I guess just because she's a young person and she's connected to this guy.
Because no one's answering their damn questions at all.
Yeah, and this is where it happens. They discover that he has like a piece of flesh missing on his back, and it goes through a butterfly tattoo. And so it matches that one like specific piece of the skin. And so they question Mitsuko, and she says that she knew about the wound, and I forget exactly what she says. She's like, they're like, did you ever ask him about it? And she's like, if your wife was getting fat, would you ask her about that, you bore?
That's right. I was like, what the fuck?
Like something
This
along
bitch.
those lines. Yeah, it was just like, it was an interesting diversion.
Yeah, exactly. That's so weird.
It's a little different. They're like,
You
why
could
do you
say that?
why
for
do you
sure.
have a hole in your back?
Yeah, do you need
None
to
of
go to
your
the
business.
hospital?
Yeah.
None
But
of
then
your business.
do they make her they strip search her?
They
don't
strip,
they?
yeah, they strip search her because
yeah,
they
I
want to
forgot
make
about
sure
that.
that she doesn't have a piece of skin missing. Because they,
Since she's not willing to answer any
yeah.
fucking questions.
yeah, and she does. Shibusawa, one of the cops, is in the room, and he goes to leave because a female cop is watching, and she tells him to stay. And he sees that she has an identical tattoo to Masa.
Yeah.
And they're like, when are you planning on cutting that off? And she's like, "What?"
Basically.
What?
And
They're like, have you
and-
ever heard of the internet?
no, what is this damn internet thing? It's like an episode of Always Sunny.
Yeah, exactly.
Isn't that shit for nerds?
Exactly.
Oh.
And then the cop totally falls for her like immediately, which is just not cool, but you know, ACAB.
It's still fuck 12 over here.
Classic.
And so Toru, which is Kuroda's son, shows him another website different from the one that the bat shows him, and it has like a short message about the suicides, and I think it says something about like the suicides will be ending soon or something. And the next day, which is May 30th, the police receive a call from a boy who coughs after each sentence, which just it pisses me off so much, but it's so like
It's very unique.
in the interim, having like played so many Hideo Kojima games,
Yeah.
it's like totally a thing that Kojima would do. Like, I don't think he does it, but it's the kind of thing he would do. So I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, I can appreciate it.
He sounds he's very small,
Yes,
but
tiny.
he sounds like he has lung cancer. He's like,
he's
like, listen, this is tomorrow. There will be more deaths.
Yeah.
It's like throat clearing. It's so fucking
It sounds
funny.
mad uncomfortable. It truly
Yeah.
does for a little guy.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah,
And that's what it's supposed to be. So they're not kids, right? They're supposed to be just like, I mean, are they kids?
They're
Is
like-
that ever really?
they're like young children. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, that's
Yeah, so he's
wild.
on the phone with what sounds like a 5-year-old.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I'll tell you what I think when we get there, but
For sure.
But so he tells them, like Evelyn said, There will be more deaths tomorrow, 7:30. Oh no, tonight, 7:30, same platform. Yeah, just like that. And so they do a stakeout, and there's like a kind of a funny line where they're like, "We gotta go stake it out," and the like fuddy-duddy guy is like, who do we watch? Everyone? And it's,
yeah, exactly.
And it,
like, what the fuck are
What do you
gonna
want us to do? Investigating?
yeah, and it's just like, damn, he's kind of got a point. Like, especially a Tokyo metro station. Like, I'm sure
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
I'm sure it's
I mean-
thousands of people in and out, like on a like a,
Maybe like hire more guys for
Yeah,
that night.
exactly.
yeah. There's
There's like 3 of them.
yeah.
There's 3 of them. Yeah, exactly. That's so fucking.
Yeah, and it's so messed up because they go there and they do this big stakeout and nothing happens. But
Nothing happens.
then my like favorite part of the movie, which I think says a lot about me, it's to me like it's just that juxtaposition, like you both mentioned earlier, of that like circus music and the first Suicide, where it's just like this like upbeat like children's chorus kind of song playing, and you just see this like wave of suicides just moving across all of Tokyo, and you see like this food vendor, he's just hanging out, and he just starts swallowing just like a whole bottle of pills, and
that's
you see a woman who's reading, and she's just like, oh, this Sylvia Plath book is really good, and shoves her head in the oven.
This is inspiring stuff.
The best one, the wildest one, like pretty much the biggest reason for a trigger warning for this film is the little girl who's with her dad, and she's watching a commercial for the Desert chocolate, which is what I found interesting. So while the commercial is playing is while all of these suicides ring out across Tokyo, and the mother is the kid's like, I want chocolate, and the dad's like, go ask your mom, and she's chopping like this big Japanese white onion or a green onion, and she just like never stops and just keeps chopping and just goes through her hand and through her wrist and through her arm and just mutilating herself. And the kid comes in and is like, can I have chocolate? And there's just blood flowing all around the counter, and she's just like, yeah, totally. And then the little kid runs into the other room and just goes like, Mom's being funny.
Yeah, Mom's being funny. Yeah, that's right.
And it's just like, it's so horrific, but it's just like
it's uncomfortable.
This wave of suicide going across Tokyo.
That scene has to be the inspiration for. There's a scene in Color Out of Space where that happens. The mom just like she's chopping a carrot and she just cuts her fingers off. It's like almost the exact same thing.
Right,
that has to be it.
So the 2 things from this movie that have lived in my head rent free for 20 years are the ski-nnamon roll.
Yeah, ski-nnamon.
And her just completely mutilating herself to the point where like when Amanda is cooking and like cutting things up, if I walk in to talk to her, I'll like stop talking until she's done chopping, or until she like turns to face me and stops.
No distractions.
And I've like said before, like I just don't want like to distract you and you to cut yourself. And then when we watched the movie last week, I was just like, this is why this traumatized me.
Fucking see.
This lives in my brain.
That's so funny. Dude.
Yeah, it's so just like uncanny and rubbery when she like cuts into herself. It's so like that that line of like, is that what it would be like? And it's just like, I don't know, because I'm not gonna find out.
I also thought like the scene reminded me of to bring it back again, Possession, where like she's doing the meat carving scene, and then
that was
just
so
fucking,
stressful.
Yeah, she just goes at her arm with it. I was like,
she's like, you know what? I hate when you talk to me. And she
it just starts going at her arm. I'm like, oh fuck.
Jesus.
She's just Just
it's
really,
so good.
really going to town on
It's
that
so good.
ground
Yeah.
beef.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I know. It's like when you introduce an angry person, like a mad person, and they going into like chopping vegetables, you know
You're like,
nothing good is coming.
Nope. Yeah, totally. It's stressful. It definitely, and it's because of this movie that I get so stressed, especially.
That's so funny.
I'm just like, I've seen where this goes.
I'm glad we can get through the trauma of this together.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Get to the root of it.
So the bat, this is also a terrifying scene. The bat finds, and she like clues Kuroda in to a message board where people are like talking about being part of the suicide club and like just like, getting off on it. And it's just like, unknown whether it's real or not, but she's like, this is a lead and I'm going to investigate it.
Yeah.
And she's on the message board with one of her friends and she's sitting there typing and she gets a response on the message board that says, "Look behind you." And they turn around
So
and
good.
fucking Rufio and the Lost Boys are there and they just throw a sack over them.
I fucking called him the Japanese David Bowie, bro.
Oh, that's their leader. Their leader's the Japanese David Bowie for sure. But
that's right. Yeah. No,
his henchmen are the Lost Boys, though.
That's right, the Lost Boys. Yeah, it's exactly.
It's a glam rock nightmare.
It's a
or
heaven.
It really is. It takes such a strange twist.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
And,
like that's where this movie just fucking flew off the rails for me. I was like, wait a minute, what in the motherfucker?
Yeah, and he claims he takes them to this like dilapidated bowling alley and like who knows what else. And
dude, the set looks so good though. It's such a cool design for the set.
Yeah,
the lights like hanging down and you just see fucking bodies like sprayed out.
Oh yeah,
that shit is
bodies
harrowing.
in bags.
In bags, dude.
Yeah,
like, they're like crawling around too. It's so like,
and some of them are animals. He like steps on a couple of them.
Oh god, that's right. Oh yeah. I forgot about that.
Yeah, so
man, fuck this guy.
So he comes in and he tells them his name is Genesis because life is a JRPG.
Right,
and he sings his weird David Bowie song, which is it's called "Shine All Night Long," and it's about how only the dead shine. And while he's playing the song, one of his henchmen go into one of the sacks and they rape and murder this girl right in front of them during the song, like it's part of the fucking performance.
God, yeah, it's so
and then they put them in sacks. Man. And
they go in the pillowcases.
They go in the pillowcases. Yeah, it's so.
Which no one seems to be able to get out of one of these things. I don't know what shit
these
are made out of.
Like fucking flipping across the camera and shit.
Yeah, I'm like, so you bite it, like you find a way through.
Figure it out.
But I guess part of the horror
they just
though.
didn't want it hard enough.
I guess part of the horror though is like if the dude is standing right there while you try to do that, he's just gonna,
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's like you can't see when it's a good time.
Yeah. That's true. That's a good point.
It is a little silly.
The show, it's just the fact that he comes out, and again, like this is what we're talking about. Like just the movie is going one direction. The movie is headed one way. You're watching one film. This is a weird, like noir essentially type of fucking really dark detective movie, and then it just turns into this.
Which there are musical numbers.
Yeah, and then like it even goes into like it feels like it spins into fucking what was the Rob Zombie movie? House of a Thousand Corpses.
Yeah.
Like it almost like spins into like that fun house type of like fucking, aesthetic.
Yeah, where they're in this place that is so many different like places in one where like if we started doing them running around, we would just never be able to tell like where anything is, and it would be so confusing. And like a fun house, like you said. Totally. It's
so harrowing. Yeah, like it's such a like jolt to the viewer, I think, to see like Genesis come out and like all of this fucking like the singing, like the song is just so.
He has them set a chair down for him, and then he adjusts himself several times.
He has a throne. Yeah.
The throne.
And you're like, what is this? this is what the Suicide Club is for?
Yeah, exactly.
Question mark.
Yeah,
because that's what he even says, right? He says, "Welcome to the Suicide Club" or something like that.
Yeah, he takes responsibility for it.
That's right.
And
He has a computer.
Yeah, it's true. He does.
So there you go.
He's on the internet,
So
obviously.
so
So good.
so after Genesis is revealed and he takes the supposed responsibility, we get it revealed when Kuroda goes home that his entire family is dead.
Oh yeah.
And there's writing on the wall. I can't remember what the writing says, but there's like some writing on the wall for him. He walks in and I think his daughter comes and says something and she's like covered in blood and he doesn't see her.
He doesn't look up.
Yeah.
He's taking his shoes off.
It's like, thanks, Dad.
Yeah. And then she like walks into the other room and collapses and dies or something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and it's very startling because his family up to this point has seemed very normal,
pretty
and
normal,
sane.
yeah, pretty.
Like
yeah.
his kids were helping him. Like they're like, "This is the internet. This is
Yeah,
how it works."
This is how you get on it. Yeah.
And then they succumbed to whatever everyone else
One
did.
note that I forgot to bring up was that this dude, the Genesis seems to be on his Luca Magnotta shit where he says, "I'm the Charles Manson of the internet age."
Yeah.
That was hilarious. Dude,
Yeah.
because, literally like Luca Magnotta, for those who don't know, for the, Don't Fuck with Cats documentary on Netflix, like he literally said that same exact thing. He says, "I'm the Charles Manson. I'm the new Charles Manson," or something like that. Like
That's
what he was trying
wild.
to
I
do.
didn't know that.
Yeah.
I never watched it because I just didn't want to see him do things to cats.
It's pretty. Yeah, it's pretty harrowing, that first episode. They don't show the whole videos, but they show enough for you to be like, I don't like this.
I'll watch 50 girls get destroyed by a train, but I'm not going to watch one cat get hurt.
Yeah, exactly. Go fuck yourself, sir.
So all the detectives come over to Kuroda's home, and they're consoling him and investigating like simultaneously, because they care when it's one of them. And and they get another call demanding to talk to him, and it's the little boy again, and he just goes on this rant about like connection.
It goes way off the fucking
and
rails.
to me this is like one of the most poignant things in the film, and like I don't think I understood this before this watching, but he says, if you die, the connection that you have to others will still remain. The connection that you have to this world will still remain. The connection that these people have to you will still remain. But what about the connection to yourself? Are you connected to
exactly.
Are you
Mic
connected
drop,
to yourself? And does death connect you to yourself, or does it disconnect you from yourself? Like is this, because this is this unavoidable thing that we all have to go towards, is it like actually our goal that we should purposely work towards and throw ourselves into, or is it like that our connections are stronger and more meaningful like in this plane of existence, but ultimately just saying like, if you're not connected to yourself, what is like the purpose of you being alive? And he just immediately takes someone else's gun and blows his fucking brains out in front of everybody.
Exactly.
He just admits and realizes like he was never connected to any of his family, and he's not connected to himself. So what's the point of anything? But just saying that, like, when you're suicidal, like, if you kill yourself, like, of course, I'm sure I've thought this. I'm sure you've thought this. Like, if I kill myself, like, my mom's going to have to deal with that, you know? And, like, in that way, like, yes, when you die, your connections remain, and all those people still care about you, and your
they're
impact,
all thinking about you.
Yeah, and the impact that you've had on this world remains, and you've done tangible things, and, like, whether it's going to last a few years or whatever, like, you've made your mark and you have existed. Like, it cannot be denied that you have existed and you have been connected. But whether or not you are connected to yourself, if you end yourself, you're only ending your connection to things, not everyone else's connection to you. So it's basically just saying to him, you know, like, sort of how selfish suicide is, but/or is this the thing that we should all be working towards, and is suicide actually in that way like the best thing you
Just
can do, like
the end of it.
yeah, like it's hard to know what he's truly arguing, but just this whole thing about connections remaining, you know, like
that's fucking gorgeous. And you know what, I missed that, I think, both times that I saw the movie, and the way you like just reiterated it now, that makes it so much fucking impactful. Like that is so beautiful. Like that was absolutely beautifully worded, because I didn't get that.
It's such a heady philosophical message coming from a 5-year-old.
Yeah,
with lung cancer.
Yeah, with a between every
and it just like raises the stakes so high for questions, because you're like, you've seen Genesis and you're like, is he doing this? And then you've got this kid on the phone,
he the one doing it,
who seems to be
it's like the juxtaposition of like Genesis, who wants the fame and wants the responsibility, and the people who are actually the puppet masters. Like Genesis just is like, well, this can't go on forever,
literally.
And even if I take responsibility and things continue to happen, you know, like copycats and all that occur, like it's going to be hard for people to not argue that Genesis actually did this stuff, because no one's ever going to really know the truth. So he just is searching in the same way as them. He's searching for meaning in life through death, just not his own death, because more so than anyone else, he's a coward.
Yeah, exactly. And like in that same respect, he is like Charles Manson in that same way, because Charles Manson never actually had blood on his fingers. You know what I mean? He had blood on his hands, I guess, in the way that he, you know, told people to go do shit. But he's really
persuasive.
He's a persuasive guy, and he was the one who took credit for everything. He was the face of everything. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like, but he didn't actually bring the knife down on anybody.
He didn't stab the motherfucker. Like he didn't like do shit but take credit. He didn't do shit, and he was the face of the a whole operation. You know what I mean? That's why and you're right in that respect. In that regard, it is like Genesis is like becoming the Charles Manson, where he's like latching on, like, yeah, it was all me. It was all my fucking idea.
But all he made was a murder club.
Yeah,
exactly.
He was just killing people.
Exactly. There's no suicide involved in that section. Like in that scene where Genesis shows up, they're just fucking murdering people.
Yeah, there's clearly no like ideal. There's no like philosophical like point that his crew is like building towards. He's just like, we're anarchy, we're chaos, everyone's killing themselves, that's awesome, I'm a nobody, my life's going nowhere, like fuck it, I'll just go to prison, possibly forever. Yeah.
With all this hairspray.
And it's interesting though, because in the same way as everyone else, like he throws his life away too to go to jail, because Japanese prison is not fun.
Locked up. That's right. That's right. And he does end up locked up. I totally forgot.
I don't know if you know that the Japanese legal system has a 99.9% incarceration rate. 0.1% of people do not get found guilty in court. Like
that's harrowing.
There's literally like a game that came out recently where you play as a lawyer who got a murder defendant off, and it's just like the most amazing thing. It is, because it is so just like trippy. That. It just doesn't happen there.
That's crazy.
So Genesis is just like, fuck it. My life is nothing, and I will throw it away, but I'm not going to kill myself. I'm going to take responsibility for all of this. So this nothingness will like, he gets this like sick satisfaction of lying to everybody, and getting to make something of his life, even though he's also just gonna die in prison or spend most of his life in prison. Like he would rather just do that, but.
Which I think it's a good parallel to even like I was talking about like Luca Magnotta himself as a kid, like keep bringing it up, but it's like this does remind me of that the more and more we talk about it, because it's like, yeah, the dude just did shit for, like, it seemed like he was literally doing things for media attention. He was literally like making fake profiles online and like putting up like Facebook ads and shit for like modeling things and everything. Like, he was making like YouTube tribute videos and everything. Like, it was wild the extent that this fool was like in love with himself and trying to make other people like know that he was responsible for like being this fucking big star and big shit.
For all of us, everything stems from like childhood trauma and things, and so it's just like for some people, they just truly were so attention starved or whatever that built these complexes where they're just like no press is bad press, as long as
whatever it takes.
If 1,000 people hate me, 1,000 people know who I am.
That's true.
Yeah.
I mean,
like,
it's a shitty way of fucking going about it, but yeah.
Yeah,
absolutely.
It's wild. And obviously, like Genesis is very, very extreme.
It's an example of, for sure, like what that extreme looks like.
This is, this like touches on so many sort of things in society where it's like this dad it's like, you think you know your family, but how much do you really know them? Like if that happens,
exactly.
Like how much do you really know them? And
this
like
is so out of the blue.
Is the internet bad? Or is it peer pressure? Is it something supernatural? Is it just that people want attention and are willing to die in a spectacular way, as long as it means like, yeah, I'll always be on that article of like I was one of those 54 girls. So it's just all these questions and societal like motives and intersections of trains of thought. So
it's I think it was absolutely like it's such a fascinating like view of such a shocking subject material. Like I think it's like it really like how we were talking, like the reason why we did this podcast is because we're trying to find these reasons within these movies. Like we are really looking for like what you iterated earlier. Like that is exactly the reason why I wanted to talk about this movie, because it's like I didn't get it. At first, I didn't get like so much happening and so much visually, like
a lot of it's very bizarre, but that's how it gets
exactly
to the point.
Yeah, like, and the seeds that are planted in there, it's like they're perfect for discussion, because like you said, like at the end when this little kid's monologue kind of like ties it all together, you're like, whoa, shit. Like now I'm gonna go back and watch that again, and like I'm sure that scene's gonna hit a lot harder than it did before. You know what I mean? With the context that I have now.
It's a wildly philosophical movie in a lot of like conflicting ways all at the same time.
Absolutely.
And I feel like it more than anything is a movie about like society. Like it's not like it's not about like a ghost that's doing all of this. It's just society. It's some people want attention. Yeah. Some of those kids didn't mean to jump, but they were all holding hands on the roof. And so the ones that did jump pulled the other ones down, and the ones that didn't fall were just lucky. But even they just end up like the one who was like, I'm so gung-ho, let's all do this, let's all really jump.
Yeah, he's like scared. He's a bitch.
Yeah, she ends up at the end being like, oh wow, I just caused all that, so I definitely have to die because I ever so there's like guilt and remorse. Just all these.
Is it the girl who reaches over and grabs him? It's
right. And those two
she
fall
pulls
together.
him down. Yeah,
that's fucking dark.
Yeah,
it's so dark.
That's the first scene that left an impression on me. I'm like, they're not all on the same page. There's some confusion here.
Yeah, and that too, the like dichotomy between the like psychosis induced ones, like the train or the mother with the knife. Like that was not her like consciously doing that or like planning that out. That was just whatever was going on. So there's just like this, like some of them are this weird peer pressure and inclusivity thing, and some of them are this other thing. Like it's just like so impossible to pin down.
Yeah, no, it makes so much more sense now that you put it. Like it's like if you take a look at it, it's more broad, social commentary essentially on like the state of not essentially like it was introducing essentially what it is. It's like these are human like factors that are happening, like these are human like stories and shit that are happening on, but it just introduced the big baddie as like the internet. You know what I mean? It was just that idea of like we introduced this new thing into the equation,
and the police definitely think that that's like the problem.
The problem, exactly. They're like, who's this fucking internet? How did you get?
Which is why they were so far like so much bad shit happened while they were just trying to.
They're so far removed
Yeah.
from like the actual reality of what's going on.
And
for
like
sure.
and like it is true though, where it's like good things can happen over the internet, like us doing this podcast and being able to, you know, keep in touch and all those things. But then there is the dark side of the internet where people get lured to places and
Furries.
people, yep, and people with, you know, bad intentions talk to people that are confused and have good intentions and, you know, trick them into all these different things. So it's like,
because all of society is on here.
yeah, exactly. So the same things that exactly.
Yeah, I have to bring up my friend. He just told me this fucking story real quick. I won't make this long. He texted me. He's like, I was on Discord the other night, or it wasn't Discord. It was what's the Omegle? The one that you just like randomly go and you video chat. And he's like, I just met these guys, hit it off really well. Like it was really cool. We were drinking beers and shit, just hanging out, talking music. And then like we're like talking for a couple of hours, like 2-3 hours. And then they invite me to the Discord, and they're fucking Nazis. I was like, whoa,
That's wild.
Yeah.
Damn.
That's how they do it, because you can't just start by being like, so how do you feel about the Third
Yeah,
Reich?
exactly, exactly.
So did that just come up, like,
It was just
on the
because it was-
side?
no,
or,
like,
or were they like, okay, now we can talk about the real
Yeah,
shit?
no, like it was their private like
Damn.
Discord that they like invited him, and he's like, dude, all I just saw was a bunch of slurs, and then they told me to read Mein Kampf. He's like, I was fucking out.
Oh my god.
Jesus.
I was like, fuck.
That's what they do, but, you know.
That's exactly what we're talking about, though. The dark side of the fucking internet.
Yeah, yeah.
So lonely.
And
It's so great.
like they ain't wrong, you know. Bad stuff happens, but so continuing with the summary.
Oh shit! Yeah, we still haven't even finished.
So
Oh right, the movie.
so at Genesis's lair, the bat realizes that her sister, it's not her friend, it's her sister, has already been killed. She like reaches over and feels her corpse. They like throw her down next to her and leave the room, and then she crawls over and like feels her face and realizes she's dead. And she gets up and like hobbles over to a computer still in the like sheet bag thing and starts like typing an email to the
That was so
police.
scary, and they're all standing behind.
Yeah, and Genesis just like grabs her by the head, and then he's like, no, don't worry, like this is the right time for me to get caught, go ahead. And so
Oh my god,
and, and then it just cuts to him being arrested and Mitsuko being saved, or not Mitsuko, excuse me, the bat being saved.
the bat, yeah.
And that's when he's like, I'm Charlie Manson.
Yeah,
And
that's right. Okay, yeah.
And it's just wild. It's like just so obvious that this guy doesn't have the brains to like do something like this.
Yeah.
And so the next day, June 1st, Mitsuko goes to her now dead boyfriend's home to return his bike helmet. And she goes up into his room and she realizes that there's all this desert stuff everywhere.
Desert, yeah,
There's posters everywhere.
He's a
There-
big fan.
There's a photo album full of pictures of him and the band. There's books everywhere.
He's like cut out and then posted pasted next to it.
That would be so funny. That would be truly hilarious. And then the phone rings and it's a mail me ringtone. And
That's right.
and
The
then
whole thing.
she looks at the poster and she realizes that all the girls are wearing numbers and have like specific amounts of fingers they're all
Aren't they
holding.
they're holding up like that's right. Yeah, they're wearing numbers and that's right. They're holding up like 3 and 2 and 1.
Yeah, so it's
so fucking funny.
So it's that she types the number on their shirt each time that the finger is held out. So like if their shirt says 7 and they have 2, then she would type the 7 twice. And so she does that and she finds out that it says suicide.
It's like text. Yeah, it's like the text thing, right?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
like
yeah.
how we used to do it way back in the day.
OG texting, baby.
And
exactly.
then right after she figures it out, the phone starts ringing, and she answers it, and it tells her to give it a pin, and so she dials in the numbers on their jersey, 7842433, and then
Someone paid attention.
and then there's a boy who tells her that there's no suicide club and invites her to come over, and
a child.
yes, yeah, a young boy. and
young
NBA young boy, and she starts decoding like a bunch of their other stuff and like just figuring out things about them, and we don't really like get to see what it is, but she's like having a big conspiracy moment.
Yeah, she just did in like 5 minutes so much more detective work than any of the police did.
Yeah, all the cops are busy killing
Man, the
themselves.
fucking security guard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anybody, man.
She's just like, oh, the signs are everywhere. I see
literally.
it.
So the next day, June 2nd, roughly a week since the start of everything, she goes and she has a code that she uses to unlock a backstage door, which is hilarious because she opens it, it goes through, and everyone's just like, who the fuck is she? And then when they see the backstage door open, they all like crowd it, but it closes in front of them.
Oh yeah, that's right.
And
They're like, oh no, Desert.
and she goes to like a practice stage area in this like concert venue, and she's on the stage. And the curtains open, and there's just children in the audience.
Yeah, that's this fucking scene.
And
What the fuck, bro?
And they ask her a series of questions, but ultimately they ask her if she came to repair her connection with herself. And she tells them that she's connected to herself, and they applaud.
Yeah, it's like, yeah.
She
Like,
then,
okay, David Lynch.
right? Right? It gets very Lynchian at the end.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
And,
yeah,
like,
yeah.
especially this next scene. So she goes with them into what looks like it looks like it's one of the like trailers that pull up for like a big production concert like this that would be full of like lights and things like that. Like it just looks
Yeah.
like they walked off
Yeah.
off the dock into the back of a truck, and there's just some huge dude like, and I think he's like in a loincloth or like shirtless or something, and he's masked, and he has just this wild like woodworking tool thing that he uses to just, the sound it makes is so horrible. He just
Human cheese grater.
yes.
Human cheese grater.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'll take a medium thin. Oh, how much do you want? 2 pounds. A little under, okay? I prefer under.
So good.
Like, yeah, and then he just cheese grates her and takes off her tattoo.
Yeah.
And they make a new roll of skin with it. And it
Yeah.
ends up with the
Skin 'em and
police.
roll, baby.
And Shibusawa, the cop who gave her his number and was like being weird with her and saw her undress, sees
Call me
it.
anytime.
Yep, he sees her tattoo and realizes that it's her, and so he goes to the station. And Mitsuko's like walking down the stairs, and there's all these other girls walking down the stairs, and all their phones start to ring, and it's all different Desert songs, which is kind of like makes you wonder, like, did that happen right before the beginning of the movie? You know, because like,
Yeah.
like that actually, yeah, like it got broadcast or something like that.
yeah, because they're definitely like connected to everything, but they're like, you know, so in the shadows, and their songs are playing during so many of the suicide scenes. So it's like I could see that, you know, influencing.
I feel like if they would have put the song or like a tune that was like similar
Instead
to them,
of the
or
weird
instead of the
medieval
bit-
music.
yeah, instead of the weird medieval music, that would have like tied it together a little bit, or it might have been on the nose.
I
Yeah.
feel like it was a misdirect, because if they would have started with Desert playing, it would have been like, oh, definitely, and it does, you know.
Yeah, that's fair.
It does
That's
end up
fair.
being
That's
that
why I'm
they-
like, yeah.
that there's some part of the conspiracy, you know. It's like it's still unclear what exactly is going on. But he goes, and she's at the station standing on the platform. All the girls are standing there, and it looks like they're gonna do the same thing, but then Shibusawa suddenly grabs her by the arm, and she pulls away, and the train arrives, and she just gets on it and looks at him, and the door closes. And then as the movie closes,
She's like, fuck you.
yeah, she's just looking at him like don't touch me, pig. And as the movie ends, we see Desert say, "Hey, this is our final concert. You know, we gotta hang up the microphone. You know, she's turning 11. We gotta get out of the game."
She's turning 11.
And yeah, they sing one last song, and the movie ends, and we're just left to wonder, like, what the fuck just happened?
It's just end credits, bro.
Yeah.
on that last scene. It's so wild. Like,
What I wonder what like there's this child band
mhm.
and there's this committee of tiny children who are younger than the girl band, but are they there together? Question mark.
Yeah, we have to. I feel like this is gonna be an answer that lies in the sequel somewhere.
Yeah, I feel
Maybe.
like what
You know what I mean?
exactly the like structure of what organization there is definitely like a question of like, are they the figureheads? Are they
Mhm.
like unknowing? Are they like,
Are they the muscle?
yeah, like
Yeah.
like are they the ones really putting things in motion, but like they're on stage so they can't,
Yeah.
you know, do this stuff. But it feels to me like all those kids are maybe like terminally ill,
Yeah,
like
because of the coughing.
yeah. And I think we see
Oh.
some of the kids have like some like little signs of like maybe like I think maybe one of them has crutches or something, like just kind of little signs of like illnesses
That they're
or
sick.
perhaps
Okay.
disabilities. So I think
Fuck, that's
it's just like
interesting.
this, like these kids are so connected and so close to death and have this like almost
Huh.
supernatural connection to it because it's like they're just born, you know, with leukemia or something. So it's like, you know,
So fucking crazy.
Yeah.
being
That's
born
so wild.
knowing that you're gonna die, which
Yeah.
we all are.
Yeah, we all are.
But
Yeah.
it's not just like
It's different when you know it's like instant,
Yeah.
or it's like at least on the verge.
yeah,
like,
it's like
soon.
you know it can happen anytime, but
Yeah.
it's not certain that it's gonna happen at this time. And even
Yeah,
if
you don't have an end date.
yeah, and maybe
Yeah.
even
Yeah.
if you knew you were gonna live to be 82, you would like around your 70s start getting hella stressed out. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah,
like,
exactly,
Be like, oh
yeah,
shit, you
yeah.
like just knowing is scary.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Mhm.
Yeah.
I feel like maybe because of that, this like cabal is formed. Like maybe even like, you know, what, because they're all in children's hospitals together or whatever,
Mhm.
and using that and using the phenomena of like idol groups and, you know, like especially young pop idols, like
Yeah.
like just deciding like we're gonna, you know, create this phenomena and connect people to themselves and to each other, and ultimately like it's left up in the air like whether they like it's like, do they really want you to kill yourself, or do you kill yourself if you truly aren't connected to yourself?
Right. If
Yeah,
you find
yeah,
yourself
yeah.
unworthy. Because
Yeah.
I'm not entirely sure. Like there are so many ways in which they get in contact through subliminally, through phone calls. What's the skin for?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. What are the ski-nnamon rolls for?
They
dog?
they take like, and when are these characters, like some of
I-
these characters are deciding on the fly to kill themselves, and some of them have an appointment to get their
Yeah.
skin taken off before they kill themselves.
I think the Skinnamin rolls is just like to symbolize like those interpersonal connections where it's just like
Like being literally physically tied together.
yeah, like they say
Huh.
that there's like 200 people per each of those roles or like something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
So it's just like, here's you connected to 200 other people that all feel the same and are seeking this connection.
And
God,
then there's
that's bleak.
54 girls holding hands when they die, and then
Yeah.
they become a girl spaghetti.
Yeah,
That's true. They all become one.
that's even more.
God damn.
It's like they're so interconnected they can never be pulled apart. Like they are
Yeah.
so joined in death.
This is fucking me. This is fucking me up, bro. This is so wild. I never thought this would be the conversation that we had around this movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can fucking confidently say that I never thought this is where we were gonna go with this. This is awesome.
I have so much more respect for Desart now.
Yeah.
I think that's what we have to do. Like, you two sold me a little more on high tension than I originally was. I mean, Untamed spoke for itself. That was just I feel like this and Untamed, like I said, when I saw Untamed, I was like, yeah, this is just totally encapsulation of like what I love about this kind of stuff. And I feel like it stands up. Like it and Suicide Club are both like in that classic like Untouchable.
Yeah.
Even though Untamed is like fairly new, like I
Mm-hmm.
feel like in 10 years people are still going to be like wondering what the hell was going on with that movie. And
Yeah.
and for
Yeah, I think like, oh, sorry, go ahead, finish that.
for me, like a drama film needs to end with as few questions as possible in terms of like, okay, well, he was over here, how'd he get over here? You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
that, I want everything to be wrapped up. I don't mind some things to think about and some things to wonder about, but for the most
Yeah.
part, like you want the A, B, and C plot wrapped up and like all of these things. But in a horror film, to me, it's like the opposite, where like if I'm not sitting here like wondering about these things later, then to me it like didn't really have that much staying power, you know?
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Like
Where it's like you don't want all of the the questions answered either.
they like so successfully create this mythology, you know, this like living breathing world with one entry where there's so many questions to think about, like in the Untamed, like, so what happens next, and you know what down the line, and all these things. And it's like I don't want
Yeah.
endless sequels, you
Yeah.
know, but
Yeah.
but it's interesting to wonder about, and it just creates this whole other like, you know, dynamic and universe that's so close to ours, if not for these, you know, weird aberrations. But
And that, yeah, I mean, that's why horror works, is our fears of things we don't understand. So if we're left in doubt,
Yeah.
then that's why it feels successful, because
Yeah.
fear doesn't go away.
Yeah, absolutely.
Even if we get some answers, we're like, yeah, I
it's
feel
never
like
like a satisfying
horror
answer
needs to
yeah.
be kind of open-ended, because you're like, even if you find out what happened at the end, you're still kind of like, but why?
yeah,
Why would that's not okay.
Yeah, and I think like the movies that we're choosing so far have a lot of like, there's the intellectual like undercurrent that's like happening underneath all of the very shocking visuals, the very like grotesque and like unsettling, and you know, the just visceral shit going on. But there's something underneath it, like we said, I had zero reading about the fucking monologue at the end about the kid, like with the kid, with what he was saying, and that now, like after how you put it, that is the most beautiful fucking scene out of this movie. I think
he tells her, rain dries and clouds form.
Oh, like a ton of bricks just now. God damn.
And that's just, it's just beautiful.
God damn. Yeah,
it's just
gorgeous,
like,
bro.
Everything that's good ends, everything that's bad ends, everything,
it's all temporary.
Everything that's good starts, you know, like it's everything is in flux, and everything is so temporal and temporary. And there's exactly, this like kind of brings out the poetic kind of nature of that everything has to come to an end. And it's kind of like, where do you sit with A, the world, and B, yourself at when that time comes, you know, like when the end comes. Yeah.
God damn, this is a good ass movie, bro.
Yeah.
it's a great fucking movie.
It's that like deterministic question of like, you know, okay, well, I have to die eventually, so why don't I just do it now? You know, where it's just like at the end of the day,
of the moment.
Yeah, like at the end of the day, it really doesn't change that much. Like you know, the impact that you have on all the connections that you have, like of course that cannot be understated. You know what I mean? But in terms of like the flow of history, like for the most part, you know, a loss happens and the world just unfortunately has to move on, as sad as it is. But it's just like, you know, having that thought and that philosophic outlook of like, oh, well, the sun's going to blow up eventually, so why don't we all just like nuke ourselves? What's the point? What does it matter? Like eventually, you know, there's going to be a heat death of the universe. So like, why would we even like try to expand into space? Where it's just like, if you keep thinking like that, you can of course come up with an excuse to just never do anything.
Yeah.
And to that note, you know, suicide is often like a very lonely, like secretive act, but like everybody doing it together, they're all connected to each other. When in doing that, it just
Oh, it's a scary ass fucking thought, bro.
It's like
that's gorgeous though.
It's like, you just made me think about this. It's just sort of like, why wouldn't you just turn to everyone and be like, hey, we should all like work together to figure out why we're like this and like not be like this. It's like it's such a hard thing to do, to like look somebody in the eyes, or for me it's very hard when I'm depressed to like actually like look at somebody even when I'm talking about my issues. But it's like hard to even, you know, look at the floor and be like, hey, I genuinely want to kill myself. You know what I mean? So like just the idea of having like a big group of people that are all like, yeah, I want to kill myself too.
Thought is dangerous.
Yeah,
it's a dangerous thing.
It is. It's so scary. And like I said before, all these different sort of aspects of society, and definitely like peer pressure is supposed to be a big like question here, because all those kids on the roof, that's, you know, totally what that was just like, oh well,
yeah, it's such a fucking harrowing scene, man. That's
you know,
terrifying.
the pretty girls and the cool guys are talking about all this, so we should just do it. You know, he's like, oh, I'm so cool and tough, I mess with everybody, ha ha ha. Oh, you're so cool and tough, why don't we kill ourselves? Oh yeah, well I bet. And then they go stand up there, and they're two of the last three left standing.
Yeah.
You know,
and then it's just, you gotta sit in that like realization, that shock of the reality kind of setting in, and it's like, that's what makes that scene so harrowing. Is like when they pan back after you see the fucking bodies fall through the window, like when they shoot through the window of a lower level in the building, and you just see all the kids like fucking fall past, and you're just like, then they cut to the roof, and you just see the three of them kind of standing there in shock, and like, that part was more shocking to me.
Yeah,
was seeing the like reactions of the fucking survivors. It was like, that's some real shit. Like, that is a real moment for those fucking people. Like, that's a real moment to come to terms with like your own mortality.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Very vulnerable time.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's scary. It's, you know, the scariest thing. And that's kind of what Evelyn was talking about before. It's like, you know, seeing Jason and Freddy is scary the first couple times, but as it goes on, it's like not seeing them that's scary. It's like the things that they're going to do or whatever. And it's like seeing a monster in a movie. Like once the monster is revealed, like, yeah, it's scary for like that big scene where they're fighting it. But then you're just like, okay, well, now that I've seen it, it's not as scary. Or like dying in a video game where it's like you're scared, and then the big 9-foot-tall vampire mommy catches you, and it's like scary dying that first time. But then you're like, okay, I've experienced this, so it's not so bad.
But I literally experienced the worst that could happen.
Exactly. And then in this movie, it's just like, fuck, man, this is just society. This is just people doing this to themselves. Like, there's no monster to avoid. There's no, this is just this, you know, psychological phenomenon that could strike anyone at any time. And like, that's what suicide is. You can leave and your son can seem totally perfectly adjusted. And there can just be this side to him that you never knew because he lacked the tools to talk to you about it. And you lacked the tools to figure out what was going on with him. You know, it's all just about like figuring out how to deal with your, you know, emotional and mental issues, and because everyone's a little messed up, you know. But
some of us a lot of messed up.
but yeah, just this like everyone's doing it to themselves. There's no monster to avoid. There's no like, oh well, if you run that way, you're okay, because it's just like you know, it's funny because like when The Happening eventually came out, I was like, oh, maybe this will be interesting, and it's so terrible. I was thinking about that. Because it tries so hard to explain everything like so quickly, and so like people.
Isn't that kind of, that was the alien one, right?
It's trees.
It's trees.
It's trees.
That's right. Okay. Yeah.
I read that was an attempt at a B movie that just it
got out of hand.
It was D. Yeah.
Jeez.
Something along those lines. Although, I mean, that, but successful, I would say, is Pontypool.
Yeah. Okay. Which this even came up.
Pontypool is
Yeah.
incredible. Pontypool is
I
a
love that
beautiful,
movie.
beautiful movie, and
that literally came up when we finished watching this movie. I even said, I was like, it's like a thought virus in Pontypool. It's almost like that.
yeah, it is like and in Metal Gear Solid 5 they have a similar thing where it's a linguistic virus.
Oh, that's cool.
Where it's like speaking this language spreads this disease.
Yeah.
And
that's so cool.
Yeah, and yeah,
that's such a cool plot point.
It really is. So I can kind of see this like DNA charting where like it's funny because when I saw Pontypool, I wasn't thinking about Suicide Club at all, but you could sort of see how it's there. But
there's a connection.
But it's that progression again of like going through like the Signal and Pulse, so then you get Suicide Club and Pontypool. Just this, it's
like a thought that catches, and
I just love seeing that like everything is just tropes. So it's like no idea is original for long, and it's
no, yeah. But what's also nice is that these movies are using those tropes in like interesting ways.
Yeah,
they're walking so they can run, so they can climb, so they can fly.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think overall, we all feel pretty positively about this one. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm speaking for myself here.
I'm pretty pleased. I'm much happier now that you cracked that egg for me. I was so fucking confused.
It's a good thing I've had 2 decades to ruminate on this one. To just really sit there and think about it and be like, what the fuck does it mean?
Yeah, bro. Like, I think that really helps it. I think that's we're gonna see that with like the movies that we bring in, is because like the movies that we bring in, not all of us have seen, and so we're all gonna have a different sort of reaction to them because it's like our own personal connection to them when we're bringing them to the table. And so I'm excited to see where we kind of go from here. And like, I mean, this is episode 3, baby.
Yeah,
this is. Bro, like I can't wait to release this to the public and like see what type of, recommendations we get. I want to open it for all of that.
Yeah.
Bro. I want to hear from people. I want to like interact, because these movies, just from talking to the people like in person, coworkers, friends, this and that, no one has heard about these movies.
Yeah, and they're
no
good.
one knows. Yeah, exactly.
And that used
no
to be,
one knows about these movies.
That used to be so much of the fun. Was like I was like 14 and I got a job at a little New York pizza place by my house.
That's awesome.
And pretty much I was just getting paid to smoke weed and hang out in the kitchen with two like 25-year-old dudes that ran this place. Yeah. And one of them I think was named Matt, and the other dude was named Cedric. And Cedric just really got me into like this and Battle Royale and Ichi the Killer and just Mike in general. And yeah, it was a trip. I pretty much like I just hung out and smoked weed with them while they made pizza and they paid me for it.
Damn, that is a dream.
That's beautiful.
14 years old? Are you kidding me? That's a fucking dream job.
Truly beautiful.
Yeah, my first job.
That's amazing. Yeah, my first job was at a pizza place too. That's funny, but I didn't get paid to fucking smoke weed and like hang out. That was, oh man,
that shit was funny, man.
I'm jelly, dog.
I would just sit there and be like, "You want me to do anything?" He's like, "No. Let me tell you about Suicide Club, though." So
what I want you to do, sit your ass down, hit this.
he would just always be like kneading out some dough and being like, "So anyway, these 54 girls jump in front of a train. It's wild, bro. It's wild."
I love, and bless those people like that came into our lives and fucking showed us these like heinous ass movies, because
Thanks, Dad.
We literally wouldn't be here today without that. And so like I like that now we kind of get to become that for other people, you know what I mean, for the internet.
Yeah. Absolutely. So
a little curation.
So I'm gonna give it a 6 out of 6. I mean, it's one of my favorites, definitely.
Excellent. Oh shit.
Go ahead.
I might have to give it a 5 out of 6 because it was so fucking confusing.
It's very confusing.
But once you get there, there's room to muse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I'm on the verge of giving it a 5, but I'm gonna go with a 6 because the way we kind of broke this down, like the way you put it so succinctly, was just like, yeah, it changed my perspective of this movie that I've seen. I own it. I've seen now twice. Could not grasp what the filmmakers were trying to kind of convey.
Mm-hmm.
So I couldn't grasp that. So now having that context with it and like seeing all these things, because yeah, at first is the spectacle that hits you of it. It's like the shock and awe. It's like, what the fuck? Like, and then you take a breather, you sit back, and then you kind of like, like we chew on it, we digest it, and it's like, whoa, there are a whole lot of like very deep philosophical ideas in here.
Yeah.
Like, so many. And again, that is what I love about these movies, is that they're able to shock you and then make you fucking think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I think Martyrs was the biggest one for me, when we initially was because
I was just telling someone about that movie today.
it's beautiful. It's a beautiful.
It's amazing.
We're gonna do Martyrs too eventually. Like, yeah, all of these are coming. Don't you worry.
Don't you go nowhere.
Don't you go nowhere. All of these are coming. We had the first time I ever had like a movie night at my place was showing Martyrs to people.
How did that go?
It was amazing. No one knew shit about the movie.
Nice.
No one knew shit going in. I just told everyone, look, it's fucking violent and you're going to feel uncomfortable at sometimes, but you're gonna probably enjoy where it goes. And sure enough, fucking last 20 minutes, everyone is dead quiet because we are uncomfortable together. And then,
as a family.
And then like it hits with the scene, like no spoilers, but like the eye scene. That eye scene, like once that hit, I heard everyone in the room go, whoa. Whoa. Like there was that realization that this gets elevated to high art at one point.
This is exactly what happens. There are people who are like, I don't do horror. And because they write off an entire enormous genre, there are all these
Jason, they've seen, Chucky,
beautiful moments that they never get to see.
Yeah, no, and like bless that side of horror for sure. That we love that, we celebrate it.
I think it's like that meme where it's like, reading a book in English class, and it's like what the author wrote. There were blue curtains, and then it's like what your teacher thinks, like, oh, the blue curtains, like they mean all these things, blah, blah, blah. And then it's like what the author meant. The curtains were blue. And it's like people who think in like the way that meme is presenting, where it's just like there's not ever anything deeper. Like I feel like that kind of mindset locks you out of like realizing these things, where it's like, where it's like, yeah, totally, like not everything in every book, movie, film, TV show, whatever has this like great significance. But like there are like very mundane small things in framing that don't mean anything the first time you see a film, and the second time you see it can be like absolutely brilliant because of all these these meta layers to the narrative, that
are just kind of just added little by little.
And it's like, yeah, sometimes the curtains are blue, but sometimes they mean something, and being able to like kind of sift through those things, and like sometimes you're like, okay, it doesn't mean anything, and then you realize, okay, I was wrong, or I read into this thing and I was wrong, but this detective work and intuition and whatnot, like that's part of the fun of absolutely, of being like, I was wrong about this thing in High Tension, and you guys like showed me this, and like I explained something that now you're like, oh, I see what they mean now that it's not in riddle speak, where it's like there are I just love the conversation that comes from these kinds of movies.
Absolutely. Yeah, this is the reason why we did this, and this is the reason why we're gonna continue doing this shit, because it's so much fun. Like even introducing these movies and like this subject matter to people who, like you say, like they write off horror as this whole big thing. They're like, I just don't like all the jump scares and the blood and the guts and this, and I'm like, well, that's not all the fucking genre.
There are so many subgenres.
So much more. There's so much more. And I've been telling people like about Hereditary recently. I was like talking about that again, which you will probably end up doing an episode.
We gotta do it. Yeah, we'll
probably.
Oh yeah, I love that movie.
Love that movie. And I was just like, I've been explaining the whole like vibe of the movie, but no one's able to really like understand it until they fucking see it for themselves, because as a movie you need to witness.
Yeah.
You know?
To me, Martyrs is the strongest case for being like, okay, I shouldn't watch the trailers of movies before I see them. Which to be fair, the trailer of Martyrs doesn't really like give much away, but it's the kind of movie where you're better served to just go along for the ride,
blind,
and to just question everything as it happens to you in real time. And by the end, you'll understand most of it. It's a movie that actually does at the end kind of tell you a lot of stuff. But yeah,
it's true.
But yeah,
I'm very happy that I went in blind, because it totally.
Oh yeah, I showed it to you recently, huh?
It
totally
takes turns that will fucking like totally surprise you.
Yeah, that's right. I totally forgot that we did that.
Yep.
So Martyrs next
week.
Is that what we're doing?
I feel like it's coming pretty soon.
It's very much coming soon. I think the next week. I don't know. Do we want to spoil the next movies as we go on?
Yeah. That's good to hook people in.
Yeah, because they can go and they can watch them in advance. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah. So next week is going to be Sideshow's pick again.
Yeah, I'm gonna be throwing in Man Bites Dog. Now this movie is insane. One of the most intense found footage films I've ever seen in my life. Shot in black and white, viscerally gory. It's disturbing on a few different fucking levels. But it's, I think, again, like there's an artistic kind of undercurrent to all of that, and like the way that they kind of like the way that they execute certain things in the movie are very, very fucking cool. Like the technical like things that they pull off in the movie. So if you can get through the very rough bits, because it is rated NC-17, very fucking rough. Very fucking rough.
I'm looking forward to
going
that.
into this one.
Yeah, it is. It's a rough watch, dog.
It's been
I haven't seen this one.
It's been fun because I've been watching all of these with my partner, and she doesn't really like the spooky stuff all that much. And I always tell her too, like for Suicide Club especially, I was like, hey, I'm just gonna give you an easy out. 5 minutes into the movie, if you don't like it, I'll watch it when you go to sleep. Like it's totally not a problem. But just 5 minutes in, let me know how you're feeling, and
check in. That's fair.
And she was like, "Wow, that was amazing," and like really wanted to watch it. And
that's awesome. And one of us.
And I think similarly to what Ev was saying, I think that's probably been a lot of her experience too. Is like, okay, well, because I know she doesn't really like jump scare stuff.
Yeah.
Like, I think she asked me about Suicide Club. She was like, are there jump scares in this? And I was like, no, not really. It's more like tension.
Does anyone like jump scares?
Yeah, I think, exactly. Yeah, fair. She said it. She said it, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
it's there. It's on the table. Fuck jump scares.
It's like I don't really like them, but 1 out of 100 times, it'll be like, oh, that was genuinely well done.
Oh, sometimes there's one in The Haunting of Hill House, which is vicious.
Yeah, okay.
And
I
they
haven't seen
earn it.
Yeah, I haven't seen it.
Earn it so hard.
That's so funny. But yeah, that's hilarious. Yeah, it's like, all right, there's one exception to the rule, but
yeah. You just have to. I don't know. Like
it's
when
unfair.
When like someone's creeping towards a window, and you're like, "There's gonna be something in the window. Why are you doing this to me?"
You hear the violins creeping.
You're
up.
like, I know I'm gonna jump. It's just a question of when.
Yeah.
And they're like, now? No, fuck you. Yeah.
So okay, overall, we love Suicide Club. I think is what we're.
Yeah, but don't kill yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah, please do not. Fucking. Do we have to say it? I hope not. But goddamn.
The two of us that are music artists both have like a lot of material about depression and getting through it. So like genuinely, you know, if you struggle with these kinds of things, like you know, we
reach out to someone, man.
Yeah, and we understand, and you know, hopefully, if you're into hip hop, that you know our stuff can provide you some consolation of just knowing, you know, other people are going through it as well. The most like meaningful props I've ever received was having someone come up to me at a show that I wasn't even playing, and he was just like, "Hey man, I just want you to know, like, I'm a huge fan, and your music like helped me, you know, get over being suicidal, and I was just like,
damn,
I was
bro,
like, wow,
that's amazing.
Yeah, it's like mission accomplished. Like
yeah.
I've done something. I have made a connection in this world.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely, dude.
so
Exactly, bringing it around, baby.
so just genuinely, like
dude.
we make some jokes because like we kind of have to get through dark material like this, but
Yeah.
suicide is a very permanent solution to temporary problems, as permanent as your problems may seem. So
Absolutely.
reach out, get help, watch this awesome movie, and
Stay connected to yourself.
Stay connected to yourself. Absolutely.
exactly.
Hey guys, so at the time of the recording, we didn't have these set up, and now we do. You can find us on Instagram at The Devil's Work Pod and on Facebook at The Devil's Work Podcast. We really appreciate all of the love that we've been getting so far. Please keep dropping a like on those posts, comment which movies you want to hear about, and then whatever streaming service you're listening to this on, just be sure to like, subscribe, 5 stars, all of that good stuff. We really appreciate it. We need all the help we can right now to grow. Can't do it without you guys. Appreciate it. Thank you guys. Take care. They're pretty good.
The devil's work has been done.
Yeah, buddy.
Well,
all right, guys, join us next week. Whenever the week time isn't real, folks.
Yeah, join us for the next episode.
Join us for the next episode.
Sideshow will be taking us through Man Bites Dog, and Evelyn and I will be the ones screaming, "Why?"
Exactly. All right, you guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us. Take care. And stay spooky.
That's right.
Always. Late.